A player that's fired up. I mean, he wants to show them that that was a mistake. So, you know, he's played at the top level for a good while now. And then, you know, if they felt like that was their best fill-in, we'll see right here.
Well, going to see what happens. Again, a lot of crazy things I think have already happened so far in the tournament. You talk about upsets. I know the Gosu crew ended up taking down FaZe.
FaZe,
so,
right?
Yeah, so some nutty things have happened. So again, it's the first event. It can always be wild, and it's always really tough to pinpoint exactly how good these teams are. When you come into a LAN setting, everything is different. So, I mean, we could talk about complexity, but really until we see them play, there's still going to be a lot of questions that need answering.
Of course, of course. And to kind of build on your point, Mark, when you are a professional player, you kind of get dropped from a team, and then you kind of see them have a little bit of success. What does that do to you? Does it really kind of build that passion and drive?
Oh, absolutely. You just want to see them lose as much as possible. I mean, that's really it, and you want to succeed. So he's definitely fired up. I'm sure he's put a ton of time into this event and into all this preparation. I mean, this is one of those teams similar to the Allegiance. Not a lot of people are talking about. So their practice is sort of flying under the radar.
Yeah, I really think it's safe to say that they're not a threatening team, but if you overlook them, they will certainly punish you. I mean, a lot of players on this roster, Parasite, he's been around forever. We know everything about him. But then even guys like Lamagod, very impressive. He's been around since AW. He's always been on teams that aren't quite, you would necessarily say, top tier, but he's always done very well on them. So again, it's a situation we have with Sinful. The same thing with Mox is, can he just, you know, make a name for himself on main stage at the first event? Can he be that breakout player?
Yeah, and Lamagod, he's just this very quiet, nice guy, and I mean, his communication isn't the best, but we've even seen games from last year where he's put up close to 50 kills in hardpoint, so he definitely has the individual skill. So we'll see if Parasite and crew are able to put it together.
And kind of building upon that, do you think maybe the old school hardpoint playstyle, which I think you're starting to see maybe develop now with the kind of new patch that comes in, is that going to favor this complexity squad off the bat? Obviously, you know, you look at Parasite there, Black Ops 2 world champion. Yeah. We saw with the boys Killer and Miracles, it kind of did. Like, that hardpoint was a lot closer than I think a lot of people would have expected when they go up against Optic Gaming. Is that going to be a similar story here for complexity?
I could see it. I mean, Parasite knows hardpoint up and down, especially hardpoint where you have to fight for those rotations early on. You can't spawn out. You have to make those smart decisions, wait for one another. So that's very important, and I'm sure Parasite has been going over that with those guys.
I would say the hardpoints are completely dependent on Luminosity. It's either they show up or they don't. If they show up, all four players firing on all cylinders, they're going to be fantastic, and that's when you have those 250 to 97 games. But if Luminosity doesn't show up, a lot of players can step it up. You have like Exotic, for instance, that he's one of those players, again, we keep talking about the breakout style, but this is a match where, again, make your name against Luminosity. They're supposed to be a juggernaut, have a fantastic performance, and you look good the rest of the tournament.
Absolutely. It's one of those where you really can come out and set the pace for the rest of the year, essentially. I mean, we saw that video to kind of lead us in. First event, historically, a couple of upsets here and there. I mean, you go back to AW, you know, FaZe beat out Optic Gaming. That at the time was considered a bit of an upset.
Crazy event.
That was a nuts event. We need a grand final just like that. But we're going to jump into the rig draft for this one, of course. Complexity going up against Luminosity. Seen a couple of FTL jumps come throughout the day, Chance, but anything immediately take your eye? Oh, FTL jump.
I was about to say, FTL jump is the only thing that really stands out. Everything is as standard as can be. I know with reactive armor, you don't have to use Shockwave, but that's going to be a standard pick. Actually, there is that flip. One Shockwave, one Man-at-Arms, but I don't think there's a significant difference between the two. Shockwave is going to be, maybe you see that happen once a tournament where someone picks up a kill with that. Man-at-Arms is just going to be consistently useful, but not necessarily that powerful of a thing, which is nice to have.
Well, that's going to be everything from the analysis desk before this next matchup. Luminosity Gaming going up against complexity. For now, we can send it over to our wonderful casters for the series.
All right, let's get into it. Maven here, going to be joined by TB. How you doing? But I haven't casted with you in quite some time.
Oh man, it's been probably over a year at this point. We got a hell of a series coming up in this one. LG coming off of a tough loss earlier in the pool versus ALG. Can they bounce back here?
Well, talk to me. You know, we got the stats a little bit ago from that first series. Talk about a couple of things that stood out to you from the Luminosity side. Oh,
the respawn KDs are absolutely amazing from them, but the S&Ds is where they struggle. 0.5s for a couple of players on there, and that's why they're able to basically lose that series.
Yeah, that's what's going to come down to for me. I mean, if Luminosity can win the hard points, I think they're fine. But the question, I mean, honestly, they seem to win the respawns. I know S&D is a big deal, yes, so on and so forth, but think back to last year, when they were the Rise Nation team. I know there's some changes, but they didn't get by a winning search at all. It was basically smoking people in respawn.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at this first hard point, though, a little bit of a change going on top of this building instead of underneath. going to see who's going to be able to control this loading area is much more important now. Getting that line of sight over towards the top, you know, trying to make it less of a, or more of a contesty hill rather than just making it a money hill, basically.
All right, well, let's get ready to rotate out. As yeah, central rooftop, now we're going to be going over to cell block, and you can see LG set up pretty nicely here. It's going to be on the side of complexity to try and get the break on. Slacked in a cheeky little spot here up at the edge, going to be rotating back to help out his teammates. So talk to me what you like about Breakout. I mean, this is, I think, one of the pro players' favorite maps coming in, even before the spawn change. What do you like about this map?
Just, it's very heavily rotation important. You see how LG is sort of stacked over towards this circle building right here towards wall run. You want to try and break over towards middle, but with 30 seconds left, they don't really have time to do it. And I feel like if you hold that back anchor like complexity is doing, they took the time to go all the way around. They sacrificed the first, what, 10, 15 seconds, and it pays off for them there. And that's why they're able to surge back in this score and about to get the lead.
Well, so far pretty tight, but they're going to be able to get the last 15 points. Now look at it. You're already rotating out. You're already starting to rotate over and get set up for Graves. So let's hop over to the key rotation, which is going to be Slacked. He's going to be the first man in. He's going to have a gunfight, likely with Parasite. You see the number 1 on your mini map, but it looks like they're being smart. They're waiting for a pinch or all 4 to hit together. So Parasite's up top, and then you see that number 2 wrapping around the entire way. That's going to be Exotic. So let's check Exotic's fight in the back, because if he can win this here, he's going to open up the flank in a big way.
Yeah, very important kill there for him. Now he can start blocking these spawns. If they're able to win gunfights on both sides, it should force the split out spawn from LG. Yes, you see it there. They spawn out very far back
perfect.
towards
That was
like
perfect.
that second hard point, and a great pinch in from them. Exotic started off another 2-piece for him. He should be able to get into this head glitch and hill.
Yeah, so despite the fact that Luminosity rotated in early, it was a nice pinch coming in. Exotic gets 2 key wins. He will end up dropping, but if they get some time here, it's going to be, yeah, mostly him and then the push on the other side from Llama. But yet another lead change likely coming. Neither team really been able to set up here. And this is one of the hard points that I heard maybe some fights about early on that some people thought it was a little bit too easy to hold. But so far, this has been very, very back and forth.
Yeah, I really expected complexity to get a little bit more time there, especially after they perfectly, you know, split push, broke the spawn, but LG just surges back in, brute forces their way back in. Another 5 seconds of scrap going in their favor. About a 20-point lead as we shift over towards this outside.
And you can see the difference in rotation. Like they rotated out 15 to 20 seconds before to get to Grave. This time, nobody really rotates out. They wait to get the full amount of time, and now the fight's going to come as we get over to Commissary, as this is not really as easy to lock down. I know we saw FaZe do it in a brilliant way in that final series, what a PSX, where they had that crazy comeback against Orbit. But you usually see this be a little bit more back and forth, but let's see if Llama and crew can hold on here.
Shout out to Octane right there. You saw it on the minimap. He took his time towards that wall run, pinched over with his team. They took the time to go around towards the back spawns, and again, being rewarded for it. That's overall the way hardpoint should be played. LG doing it quite well. They keep breaking this complexity side, basically first push every single time. Complexity needs to take their time, group up, and preserve their lives better.
And Classic starting out strong. He's 8-5. He was on a 5 streak before dropping there. We'll actually stick with him through the respawn for a minute. We'll see where he pops. But he was the one that I think struggled the most kind of in that past series where they lost to ALG. He had a 0.93 ratio and respawn, 0.56 in search and destroy. So they need Classic to step up. I mean, at the beginning of the game for Black Ops 3 last year, a lot of people considered him kind of the top player in the game. He was overshadowed a little bit by his teammates at times throughout the course of the year, but certainly considered a top player in his own right by most. Has to step it up here this weekend in Vegas.
Swapping back, the rotation resets towards this rooftop. And again, this loading area is so important. Octane trying to lock this down, switches over weapons, and gets the second one there, and they seem to have control. And this is sort of the power spot now. If you're able to control loading, you have the line of sight over towards the other side spawn, and on top of the hard point while your teammate can just sit in a corner just like this.
Well, tell me, since you have this corner here, does it play that much differently for you being up top, or is it still kind of similar?
It's pretty different, though. Every single situation, especially with the verticality in Infinite Warfare, you can just create these gunfights that you wouldn't be able to do before. You couldn't shoot through that bottom glass right there. So it really changes stuff up.
All right, well, let's switch over to the complexity side for a bit. Parasite, we'll go to him once he gets off a spawn. Let's see where they're going to end up popping. So you see they have a little bit of a split here. Parasite is going to end up spawning out with Exotic. So they're going to be coming from the flip. Who's actually on the other side of this? It's Llama. So Llama's set up in the new hard point. Well, but the back side of the new hard point. They've got a nice pinch. Luminosity's going to be surrounded here. I was about to say, if Llama can get 1 kill, this is going to go very, very well for complexity. Not the case.
The swarm coming in from LG again, breaks in. Llama just didn't have any sort of help. The rest of his teammates are spawning out. A split push coming in. Parasite able to win the first at the back. They're doing a good job of responding to how LG is breaking, but can they do it here? They're down about 60 points. They need all this time.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I don't want to say a must-win for LG, but with the search and destroy gameplay we saw the last time around, definitely looking to get a big victory here, but we'll see if they can close it out. They struggled to do that in game 1 versus ALG. We'll follow Llama now in the hardpoint. Sees 1 across, nice shots, 1 in front as well. Can't find that. That's 3 down, make it all 4. That's a clean wipe there. But with 10 seconds, oh, actually, look where the spawn came in.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought they were going to spawn out far, but I guess it was kind of mid-rotation for Luminosity.
Yeah, exactly. They really, all they had to do was try and contest. They were able to win the gunfight. So not only do they force out that back spawn for compLexity, they get initial control and scrap time. So everything going into LG's favor. They played that perfectly, and compLexity did not do a good job of pushing out and making sure that they retain the rest of the scrap.
And who is hiding in here? Oh, okay, so it looks like they tracked him down. Exotic, I saw the 1 red arrow on the minimap still so close to breaking through. You do see you have a lot of these payloads starting to come up. You saw FTL. You have Camo getting pretty close here. Slacked has it. And this is more of what we expected, I think, from this hardpoint the first time around. You can lock it down. You can set up a hardpoint where you can get 45 to 60 if you really get a good setup. And right now, this could be a full hold for Luminosity.
Yeah, most of the time you're going to try and wrap around, but with the amount of time that's left on it, compLexity just cannot do it. Getting wiped out towards cave again. compLexity is getting the favorable spawn for the next hill, but every single time it just seems LG pushes up, they wait for their teammates, they group up and just smash towards the hill.
And you can see it's a split spawn kind of coming in again for the side of compLexity. Well, now they're up to 2:15, trying to close this game out. We're going to rotate out of Graveyard now as we head over to Commissary, and it's going to be Saints. That's the first man in. He's got 1 player to deal with, able to get it done, and that's going to be a nice, clean opening break here from Saints, and they'll keep racking on the time. Do you think they can close it out here?
They should be able to. Looks like compLexity trying to flood towards the back, but Octane able to take down 1 down with him. The flood is coming in from compLexity. They should have the numbers here in the hill, but the spawn is coming up towards the wall run. LG trying to flood in and end this game as fast as possible. Slack with the big 2-piece.
But Classic on this lower wall run, you see him getting cheeky there, able to find 1. Well, he finds the edge as well, unfortunately. But Octane followed up to trade the kill. They just need 22 more points. It looks like more than likely we're going to at least see another hard point. This is kind of the situation you saw phase in versus Orbit at PSX, where you're down big. You basically need perfect hard point from here on out. I just don't know if that's something compLexity can pull off against the caliber of a team like Luminosity.
Especially with the way that LG is shooting right now. It's just unbelievable stuff. 10 seconds of scrap coming in, and it looks like LG is able to take that one too. They don't even care at this point. All they need is about 20 seconds left. They're going to get all the scrap time that they want to edge out this win in this first hard point here. Rotating back over towards this rooftop. Classic just taking his time. Well, good position here, just looking over towards the hill, making sure no one can hop in.
Well, trying to get eyes on. Now he's going to know there's 1 player up in that top corner. He's hit with a jammer. It's going to be COL. He should go hunting for the top kill. There he's able to clean it up finally with the hip fire. Stopped shooting a little bit prematurely there, but with it being 3 down for compLexity, you think they would get time. No one actually got in the hard point, though, through that. When they had 3 down for coL, they were just trying to slay out, I think.
Yeah, I guess they're just prioritizing loading a little bit too much there. They got all the kills and weren't able to get any sort of time. They could have took the gunfight from the hill and
solid
win the game.
5 to 10 points at least,
Easy.
you would think there.
Yeah.
But now we'll see if they can shut it down. It's compLexity's hard point for the moment with 15 left before we rotate out of cell block. Nice shots there coming in from Slack. Able to pick up 1 before dropping. Just 10 points needed now for LG. I mean, it was close early on, but it's pretty much been their entire game over the second half of this hard point. But you can see that it is going to be compLexity set up nicely here first. Let's get to Parasite, because he might be able to pick up a couple on the cross. He finds 1, finds a second. There's a third there just outside of loading. I think his teammate cleaned that up, so they're in a good position to get it. But let's go over to the break. This is going to be one of those times I think you see 3 hit the wall run. Oh, maybe actually all 4.
Looks like they're hesitating a bit. They're all grouping up. Are they going to try and just brute force their way in?
Yep.
And here it goes. The grenades coming in, trying to pick off a couple players in the back door. The flood coming in. Parasite needs to get over there quickly, but Exotic is there. Swirly answers with a third, and it looks like compLexity's going to hold, but fancy footwork over there on the floor. Octane picks up 1, but all the time should be going in coL's favor. They're fighting up. They're fighting up strong here.
Yeah, but they would need basically this hold, which they can do. I'm surprised. I thought Luminosity might give this up. Okay, they are. They're actually setting up across mid-map, you can see, for the next rotation. So now these gunfights are going to be huge. We'll watch Swirly as he's going to be the first man out. He's going to be hitting around the flank. Remember, this is what we saw Exotic do the first time around, where he found a couple crucial kills, and that opened up, well, it opened it up for compLexity to lose the hard point pretty quickly. But this is the one where Luminosity almost had a perfect hold last time. They're going to be set up first inside. Oh, all 3 get wiped out, though. They might give him a chance here. Octane trying to stay alive. The hip fire there from the NV4 comes up huge. But now it's compLexity just barely holding on.
Just great execution there on the rotation. They're able to pick up that player at the cave and just flooding in again. 180 points for them. Exotic is in this head glitch. It's so hard to get the player out of this, and another 4 dead should be coming up soon. Classic Playing his life, though, playing this very smart, waiting for his team to flood up again.
And Llama has this rewind to work with. He's in a strong spot here. He wants to continue to hold, really needs to stay alive. He sees the pressure start to come in. You can see them all in X-ray. He's able to find one. Second in the window, he has a third to his left as well. It's just on Exotic now. They're not in the hard point. There's 22 seconds left, and that's game.
That was a good fight, though. compLexity finally settled down a bit. They anchored those spawns in a couple of hard points in a row to get some score back in their favor. But, you know, LG fighting for that scrap was ultimately the best play. They didn't play, you know, those last 3-4 hills very well, but all they had to do is chip away a few seconds. They were able to do it, and all it took was one break.
Yeah, I wondered if they were able to get like 20, 30 more points, it starts to get to that point where you almost put pressure, you think, on them, on Luminosity to start to fly. Hey, we only need 4 points, like you saw happen to Orbit in that crazy match. But they held, I guess, enough of a lead there. They were pretty comfortable with 40 to 50 points, even when it came to the wire. But, okay, what changed for you, though, over the course of, obviously it was close early, then Luminosity started to destroy, but compLexity really started to bring it back. What changed for you?
So basically on those rotation fights, compLexity started to spread out way too far. How many times did you see that red arrow on the minimap literally just waiting in a corner alone? That's the type of stuff that LG is going to completely eat up. They group up as a team. They go towards that back anchor spawn. They find that one player they need to find. compLexity just spreading out too far. One player in hill, one player playing the back, other two spawning out. I don't know. It just didn't seem in any sort of cohesion.
We've seen this game isn't really similar to Black Ops 2 in the sense that you kind of had your one player that would rotate and maybe set up, and you think it'd be maybe someone like Octane that would play that type of role. You kind of have to rotate as a team to some degree. I mean, we'll see 3-4 players sometimes hitting that rotate. Well, 3, they'll leave one person to get scrap time. All 3 end up rotating together. And I guess, so Luminosity is doing a much better job of that.
Definitely. And, I guess you have to talk about this Parasite versus Octane battle. Parasite did not have a good game one there, barely any hill time. It is a slower hard point, but you can still play a bit too slow. I feel like Parasite was putting himself a little bit too distant. He was part of the problem when I was talking about that one player in the back getting caught out. Several times he's just playing this power position, but he needs to rotate into the hill with the way LG was playing at times.
Yeah, because, what was the time we saw he was playing mid-map when they were rotating from, the first hard point to cell block, and he was in that mid-window and he got 2 or 3 kills.
Yep.
But by the time they all spawned wall run and hit, I think he was still kind of rotating back to even get set up in the hard point there. So some crucial kills, but maybe just need to relay up with the teammates a little bit quicker. But now we're going to get to Search and Destroy. Now this is where we saw Luminosity certainly struggle a bit in their first series versus ALG. Have you been able to see compLexity, this team, play much Search and Destroy? I haven't watched them this weekend, but I know at Champs, I know the roster changed a little bit, lost Havoc. There's some differences for sure, but when you think about Parasite, you have a guy that can play Search very, very well.
Definitely.
Do you put the edge to compLexity here in game 2?
After what I saw when LG was playing ALG, I honestly might, to be honest. The difference, though, when you're talking about compLexity compared to Allegiance is I feel like Allegiance is a much more aggressive team when it comes to Search and Destroy. I don't know if compLexity is going to be able to replicate that same sort of style. Exotic had a really good game 1. I think I'm going to look towards him to be able to continue what he was doing on that game number 1 and just set the precedent for them in Search and Destroy to get some sort of edge.
Well, let's see who can get the edge early, but the key player matchup here is going to be Octane going up against Parasite. Now, we talked a little bit about what's I mean, the KDs for Luminosity in their first series with Respawn, it was 1.22 for Slack, 1.27 for Saints, 1.21 for Octane. And those are, I mean, if those were to hold throughout the course of the weekend, you're talking about 3 of the top 5 KDs, and they still lost that series. So Search is certainly where the struggle was, specifically with Classic and Saints. Those 2 are going to need to pick it up here.
Definitely. And Search and Destroy, a completely different beast. I don't know how, this is compLexity's first series. I don't know if there's a sort of warm-up for them, exactly what's going to be going on. Parasite struggling a bit in that first one, but, players warm up. You get a little bit of momentum in a series if you start doing well in a round in a few minutes. You never know. So they could definitely bounce back here.
All right, well, players selecting their rigs now. We'll get ready to hop into the game 2. It is going to be Search and Destroy, played on Retaliation. So let's see who's going to be kicking things off on offense. It looks like it is going to be compLexity off the start. How do you feel about this map? As far, we talked a little bit about some of the maps being a little bit more offensively favored, especially something like Scorch, which you saw earlier today.
Right.
What do you think about this map in particular?
I think the A-bomb moving over towards this right side bridge is just extremely important for the map. I felt like it was just way too defensively favored.
It was about 10 feet from the defensive spawn, right?
Exactly. So now that you have a viable option to push over towards this top street, as you see compLexity trying to do right now.
Well, Saints has already found the first blood. Now it's going to be on Llama to try and around the back and maybe put some pressure here. Parasite does answer back. You saw one to his left inside the curve. He does get spotted almost immediately. Wisely going to back down. Now let's take a look at the minimap now, because it looks like they're going to be retreating for now. And
I like this.
You see the number 8 there inside a hotel, who might be able to peek window and get eyes on them. That's going to be Saints. He's watching hallway. I thought he might go to rim. Yes, he is. So he's going to come out and look out window. He might be able to find one of these players on scaffolding. They're going to get peeked. Not an easy gunfight, and he gets cut down.
Heads up play from compLexity. They're just leaving Llama, number 3 on that minimap there, setting up for the late flank. We're going to switch on board with him to see if he can catch any. The bomb going down. The timing should work out perfectly. Dream spots the 2 players at the hallway, picks up 1. Re-challenge coming in. Can he finish it off? Playing smart, playing his life.
Well, he will get gunned. Slacked will fall. He was in a tough spot there. But the first round, you see the guys at compLexity getting hyped up. That's exactly what you need. After the game 1, which was a hard-fought battle, but you lose there on the hard point, you bounce back in the search and destroy. And Llama, was he who we first started off that hit the wall run?
Yes.
Yeah, and so that whole time he kind of just plays a little bit slow there, plays sneaky, and ends up coming up behind with a big play.
Yeah, huge play from compLexity there, and that's exactly how you need to play offense on this game. Make the other team cover more ground. That's exactly what they did. They caught the player at bedroom, and that sort of set up Llama for that late flank. Late flanking in search and destroy in every single Call of Duty is going to pay off well. If you hit that timing, bomb goes down, Llama hits it perfect.
Well, Slack just saw the entire squad basically cross, puts a nade directly. Who's laying on scaffolding? I think that was Exotic. Yep, he tagged him up with the grenade, able to finish the kill. So first blood, once again going to go to the side of LG. Wrapping around the back, I believe, is going to be Octane. He's going to have an easy kill there in from behind. All of a sudden, just 2 left. It's going to be on Parasite and Llama, make it just Llama now. He's got 3 kills, has yet to drop, would have to have a huge play here, but that's about as tough of angle as you're going to get. 1 round going to go to LG.
Yeah, exactly. Just a brute force push coming in. Slack gets control of that plat and just catches the player over towards that sort of balcony area.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing around the B-bomb site, Plat's certainly the most important position on the map. You saw Slack able to get the early kill there, and I don't know, it was a little bit fortunate timing, but he caught everybody on the cross and was able to find Exotic to open things up. So let's now get back. Let's start off with Swarley this time. He's had a rough start to the game, 0-2. We'll see if he can rebound here as we get into round 3.
Longer range map, you see some NV4s coming out on both sides with a mix of K-bars. Looks like Swarley trying to take his time, spot out some players towards this middle hallway, able to catch one with the full shit there. Will he be able to follow up? Nope, gonna play smart, play his life, and the wrap over towards this street. Gonna go down.
Let's take a look. So he did get into bedroom already. So Llama's already gotten into bedroom. He should be able to find a kill here around the corner. Not able to win the gunfight. Now it's Swarley, who we started off with. He's by himself in a 1 versus 3. He's been spotted on the wall run. Able to win. Nope, can't win the first one there out the backside. You see Classic there, all smiles as he's looking to rebound an S&D from his first series.
Looking good here, just pushing up, putting the aggression over towards the street, catch a couple of players over towards curve, and just get the numbers and play aggressive. That's sort of the difference we saw in that first series. I felt like they just got caught off guard a bit. ALG putting a lot of pressure on it. LG obviously learned from that.
All right, speaking of Classic, though, let's see if he can keep it going. 3-2 right now. They have the 2-1 round advantage. And what route are they opting to take? It looks like a bit of a split here. Playing it slow. That was Slack again. Remember, Slack got up into this position, found that early kill on Exotic 2 rounds ago. Able to get up to top plat yet again. Sees they don't have the stack there at B, so should be a good amount of information for his squad here.
Really expect them to move over towards this B bomb site. No sort of map control for compLexity here. Might try and pull off some sort of flank, but
yeah, Octane looks like he's really worried about the flank. Here it comes. Oh, if he would have held that position for 1 more second, he might have been able to line up 2 kills, but I still want to keep eyes on with him because as the rotation comes around the back, he's trying to get into a good position. He did spot 1, he's now spotted 2. So he knows the flank is on, he's able to push them back. Just his presence alone is going to slow things down for compLexity.
Playing it perfect, just peeking, gaining information, is able to pick up Exotic towards the back. Numbers in their favor, 3 versus 2. compLexity in a tough spot. They have to retake, only 25 seconds left. Parasite having a good game right now, but looking doubtful in this round.
Yeah, he has FTL to work with, but like you said, just not enough time, really. Swarley, though, can make it a 1v1. He's got to find the kill very quickly. Oh, Octane, he just hid. He just hid, played his time perfectly, and finds the kill. I mean, that whole round was Octane. Him dealing with the flank when he saw 2 players, found the 1 kill, and then, honestly, if he's standing up there and he gets spotted, maybe he loses that gunfight. Yeah. Swarley has a chance, but the fact he dipped, Swarley, just not enough time. Just had to try and fly and make a play.
Unfortunate split-second timing for the compLexity player there, but Octane just playing for information. If you're the flank player on your team, if you're watching the flank, that's exactly what you need to do there. You play your life, you gain information, and make the other team scared to push you. Caught 2 players off guard and gets the clutch.
All right, well, here we go. Teep into round 5, watching Parasite. He still has that FTL jump to work with. He's going Gonna bridge into bar here, trying to find it out. He's about to catch a nade to the face, gets past it actually, and barely gets tagged up, so he knows there's one right across from him in the corner. Shot a little bit off, can't win it.
A bit of a touchdown challenge there, but Swirly's able to answer back onto Slack to even things out at 3 players apiece. Exotic looks like he gets the call out from his teammates. They're clearing out this B bomb site. Should be going down soon, or they might just push market.
Yeah, if they push market, this flank, if they plant at B, this works out really, really well for Classic coming in behind. But the fact they push through, now it's going to basically be a 3-on-1 for Saints. So the flank's going to be a little bit slow. If they can hit in and find this kill on Saints, they're going to be looking beautiful. And that's perfect. That's exactly what they needed to do. I mean, maybe a little bit of luck involved in that. I don't know if they realized there were 2 people hitting the flank, but if they tried to actually plant that at B, I think it would have been a world of hurt.
Octane spots that first player over towards curve, but taking his time. Looks like the bomb going to be dropping down. He should be able to get this player off the bomb. The patience on Octane, but no, gets gunned. Exotic pops up on that bomb, wins the gunfight, puts Classic in a 1 versus 3 situation. Shots going down on him. And a round I thought might be going in LG's favor. No, compLexity gets over towards A, wins that gunfight. Octane maybe just a bit too much patience there.
Yeah, I mean, it's never an easy gunfight, right? When you have the cover there as the bomb, but still nice shots by Exotic. And he got a lot of hit markers there for Octane, but some of them likely going through the bomb. And ultimately, compLexity able to take it. So now 2-3 going to be the scoreline. This one has been incredibly back and forth. Let's take a look here. Let's go. Octane had the big round before. Let's stick with Octane for now. Actually, what does Slack have? So Slack does have rewind. Let's see if maybe that comes into play. He's been the one flying out the plat over and over and over, going to maybe finding a kill. And here, he might be able to do it again. Remember, he caught Exotic kind of on the scaffolding last time. This time again, on the cross. That time is actually Llama as he blows up the car. He's getting pushed from the left as well. Finds that with the hip fire. And that's shutting down a payload. And he sees the third there pushing in a bike. And he's just going for it. He's feeling cocky. I don't know if he realized he just hit scaffolding. Yes, he does. He saw him.
Calls it out to his teammates. Use that rewind just to play a little bit safe. I think Parasite burned his FTL jump there in that one too. Another gunfight going down, but no, Exotic able to get the better of Slack again in that one.
How's this round falling apart?
I have no idea. Saints now stuck in the 1 versus 2, now 1 versus 1. Saints versus Exotic. Exotic was able to win a couple of huge gunfights, and there's another one for him. Makes the round count even at 3 apiece. Exotic coming alive in this one.
I was trying to locate Exotic on the minimap. Oh, because he was right below us. That's it. I don't see him on the minimap. I was trying to hop to him. He was directly underneath him. Nice movement there as he comes behind, able to clutch up around. But that's one in which Slack gets kind of the opening 2 kills. We've seen him dominate plat time and time again, but the rest of his team kind of falls apart.
LG should have really took advantage of that one. When you get a couple of kills towards scaffolding, that should really be all you need. But some slippery plays from compLexity, stay alive, and Exotic picks up a few more. It's weird to see he only has 3 kills, but those 3 kills were absolutely huge in these last couple rounds.
Yeah, they really, really have been. But now let's see what Llama and crew are able to do. All they have to do is wait. Apparently, his Classic takes out Saints. I think almost another car explosion kill almost came in, but now they are going to end up rotating out. So let's take a look at the minimap here as the rotation comes in. You see they've kind of backed up on the defensive end. That number 7, which is going to be Slack, is playing really, really defensively. It looks like they're going to give up and maybe play the retake. They have no reason to push through right now. They're up 4-3. We know we saw them do that 2 rounds ago, but here, completely different scenario.
I think Llama may have spotted these players flanking. Yep, playing a very good corner, has the rewind to work with as well. Expect him just to pop out here in a second, pick up 1 player, maybe pop this rewind. Able to pick up this first player. Ooh, some shaky shots onto Slack, but able to win it. Spots the second, and now just needs to buy time for his team.
Almost caught him. The timing almost ended up perfectly. He's got a couple hit markers in there, but still hasn't been able to finish. His teammate is able to snag 1. The final does go down as well, and compLexity takes control here of the game 2. If you are just tuning in, it was a 250 to 200 game 1 that was won ultimately by Luminosity, but this has been I guess a pretty back and forth series thus far. I know the game 1 was a 100-point game at one point, but they clawed their way back in, and compLexity looking strong.
Some very different strategies going on for both sides as well. LG just trying to brute force their way over towards this B bomb site, whereas compLexity, they put pressure over towards A. They see what sort of happens there. If they get the advantage, they rotate back over towards B, making LG cover just too much ground. This is a pretty big map for Search and Destroy, so compLexity, a bit more strategy going on. LG, letting a couple of these rounds go.
Hey, I couldn't agree with you more. At least 2 rounds that you think they might have been able to take, they didn't. Here's, yet again, I don't know why I'm not on with him every single round. He goes to plat and he wins his gunfight every single time. He's getting a kill, whether it's a combination of the nade, the car, the shots. He's finding a kill here every single time. That's 3 first bloods on offense for Slacked in a row. I'm not going to miss it again. I'm just going to stay with him every single time because he's winning that battle. The question is, can they now close out the round? He's going to get confident, charges in with his teammate. Nice little bait and switch. They know there's another. They're just going to soar, find the kill, and now it is Swirly all by his lonesome. He did find 1 kill. This would be for the 1v3 ace, I believe, if he can close this out.
Gunfight going down towards plat, but no, LG able to fix their mistakes on that one. Actually answering Slack's kills onto plat finally when they messed it up the couple of rounds. Saints just grouping up towards that bike area, teaming up with Slack. The bait and switch is going in.
How do you, okay, so if you want to play defense at B, you know, we've seen them stack A a couple times, but if you want to play defense at B, you have to kind of fly down those market steps, get out towards scaffolding. How do you deal with somebody that gets to a position on plat quickly? Like, how do you deal with it? Because he's winning that every single time.
I think there's a couple second window because Slack's getting there quite quickly. Those players just have to try and double shoot that guy. Slacked over towards
plat. Hit him with nades or something?
Yeah, something. They just seem to have one player contesting, or they're just sliding over towards the sort of balcony and can't do anything.
Well, I'm trying to see if it's him again. Well, Slack's actually be playing inside this time. So this is, we've seen them, they pretty much hit through lower street to B every single time. And it's whether they push through the back and try to get into A, or whether they play it slow. This time they're pushing through fully again. Oh, Slack could have the best or the worst timing here, depending on how he plays this. They should know, just looking at map control, they should have known they've given up bridge entirely. Well, now they know Swirly finds the kill.
Yeah, LG not really having any sort of idea what the play was from compLexity. The entire push through spawn, the bomb going down. Now a 3 versus 3 situation. The retake has to come in from LG. Can Octane spot anyone on this back wall run? But smart plays from compLexity to just play back Grave.
And yeah, you know how hard this is to break as a hard point, right? When you're trying to break into Grave, it is no easy task. This is basically what you're kind of asking them to do. You saw one over the top, so Octane, I believe, should have seen at least one player. Checks his corner. Now he's going to start to push, gets gun, can't win it. It's going to be a 2 versus 2, though, as Classic was able to find one. There, he got eyes. They saw each other trying to win it. Not an easy one, but does find it. Clutch kill coming in for Slack. Now going to be 1 versus 1. 11 seconds on the clock. Not going to have enough time to get it done. He needed a lucky angle there, maybe to get shots off the top. Slack not going to have enough time to come up clutch, but he, I would say, almost wins the gunfight there.
Huge play. I love it from compLexity. The strategy to plan it towards that Grave side. You saw Parasite just sort of bunny hopping over that wall, gaining the information that he needed. He won the first gunfight, and that's all he needed to do. Set up Exotic for the easy clutch of the 1 versus 1. Just need to stall time. The retake coming in all the way from the other spawn just takes way too long on retake.
Honestly, even if Slack somehow got, if he was in curb and got an angle on him immediately, I don't know if he would have enough time. It was really coming down to the wire. But let's watch Slack did it again. I mean, this has been his bread and butter, right? Get to plat. He did. I think he bumped a teammate though. I believe he might have got a bump at the beginning, so I don't know if he'll get here first this time. Well, they don't push out. They don't. How do you deal with it? You don't put anybody out there.
Yeah.
That seems to be their answer.
Yeah, they're just going to give him the map control at this point. Looks like there's 2 payload abilities ready for compLexity, so that might make things a bit interesting. Rewind for Llama, and it looks like Swirly pops that camo. Can he pick up? Oh, that's how you answer right there. You use the camo ability over towards bedroom and catch him off guard. When in doubt, just use your payload, I guess.
Well, he's been there that entire time. Swirly going to get pretty good timing on another one, able to find 2. Looking to close this down for compLexity and tie up the series at 1-1. Swirly 9-7. Is he going to get the ace here? He knows there's one around the corner, has tagged him. Go ahead, just push him. Push him. Now his teammate's there for the assist. It is now all on Octane. 1 versus 3. He's dropped, and compLexity is right back in this series.
A great camo play from Swirly on that one, and they didn't really have an answer the entire game for Slack onto that platform. Finally gets that payload ability, pops it up the opportune time, picks up a second as well, and just great stuff. Great play. Heads up from.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of like the offenses from both teams for the most part. I liked what we saw from Slack as far as opening things up on plat, but I thought compLexity did a much better job with. I don't know if I necessarily consistently, but you saw them kind of push lower street. They would get control of B, and it was whether they want to plant there or kind of push through and play around the back. And I don't know that you ever had a very good answer from LG really on the defensive end.
Sort of a one-trick pony LG seen in that one. Slacked over towards plat was absolutely dominant, so you have to give the man props, but compLexity played the map overall better. More teamwork, more strategy, making LG cover too much ground. Just couldn't seem to do it. There were several plays that, you know, LG was really heads up. They worked out. They had good teammate throughout the map, but coL just getting the better edge of it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I asked you how do you deal with that kind of, if you're compLexity dealing with Slack on platform. I mean, from the other side of that, LG never really even tried to. LG didn't put a whole lot of pressure on B. They sort of gave that up, and if you're going to get the plan, you're going to push through. We're going to try and play the retake, but more often than not working out for LG. But we'll take a look at where we're going to head the rest of the series, as we're at least guaranteed a game 4 here for LG versus compLexity. Now wait, so did compLexity? We know Luminosity lost to Allegiance. I didn't see compLexity's first match. Do we know? I wonder if we can get confirmation on how that first one went. I've been trying to keep track of them all, but I don't know if compLexity took their first series or if this is their first series of the day.
Parasite didn't have stats, so I'm assuming this is their first series, but we need to...
That's probably why we only received stats for Luminosity, so that's probably true. This might be their first match of the day. But it is going to be Frost Uplink coming up next. Anybody here you give a little bit of an edge to when this particular map?
It's tough to say. I have to give the edge to Luminosity. It's going to be a slower style of play. You have to get control of that ship side and, sort of that optic style of play we saw in that throwback uplink. I expect it here from LG. They obviously seem to be the better slaying team, but compLexity really surprised me on that search and destroy. I feel like Exotic's having a really good series. He started a little bit slow on search and destroy, but in that hard point, he was really the only saving grace for compLexity.
I could see this being a very frustrating game for compLexity, because if it is slow in a sense, yes, where you kind of have to get 2 full kills or 2 full rotations of kills to kind of get in and put points on the board. But if you're winning those kills with mapping, you can just pin people. It's just doesn't look fun to play off your back foot on this map at all in uplink. And you got to think with the slaying edge Luminosity, that's what we're going to watch. But also, this is typically a game when you have teams that are relatively evenly matched, at least that I've seen, they're pretty low scoring. You don't usually see a ton of points go on the board, not like an 11-0. A lot of times it just takes a lot of work to get points. Sure. So I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up low scoring then. If compLexity can sneak in a couple of points here and just play a little bit of defense, I don't know. I guess I could steal it, but I'm definitely going LG.
For me, I feel like if compLexity is going to have a chance in this one, it's all about drone control. Making LG rotate to a situation, you don't necessarily have to take it to the strong side of the map. Maybe take it over towards that red side. Make them rotate back. Get them out of their power positions over toward ship. You don't really want to fight them head on if you're technically the less prolific slaying team.
Well, a lot of times that I've watched this particular map, it ends up sometimes teams are just bashing their heads into each other, kind of around crates there, or right inside by ship. It's just constant trench warfare of just fighting around that one spot on the map. We'll see if anybody pulls out maybe some different tactics here. We're still so early in the game. Just thinking back to last year, how much it evolved over the course, especially with stuff like uplink, as you learn more one-point tosses, as you learn different ways to attack from various sides. We haven't really seen the ridge side of the map used too much at all, really, here in uplink. But we'll see if maybe we'll get a little bit more there. But it is now time to hop into game 3. We'll see who can get the edge in the series. I'm going to kick things off with Slacked.
I feel like a lot of these players still have this extremely fast tendency to the game of Call of Duty overall. I think as this game develops a bit more, this is a slower game with the sort of changes going on in Respawn. So I think over time, we might see some of these weaker sides used a bit more.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree with you there. Slacked having a bit of a gunfight there, but it's his teammate with the OSA and Classic that's able to find the kills early. But nowhere to really go with the drone, because you have Llama playing right around Dozer here. He spots one behind in research, able to pick up the assist, as that ends up being 2 for Exotic. And now I guess a bit of control for compLexity. They now do have drone in hand. He's got one teammate pushing the way, that is Parasite. They're just trying to find open. Now this is where it gets tough, because you spawn right on your drone, right? You have to win 2 cycles here, and it's so hard when you have that helipad in the back where you can kind of set up with cover, and just if you don't miss your shots, you can shut down 2 players really by yourself. They get the first cycle of kills, can't find the second team.
That was huge. Parasite was almost able to get that one in, but Octane able to smash it down, get the interception, and now the surge of pressure from LG coming in, tries to get the slide beat down, but Exotic is there answering again. Another huge 2-piece for the man. He's keeping compLexity on his back right now. 5-1 start for him.
Some cute movement there from Slack to play his life and get out. Well, never mind. Swirly hunts him down quickly. But this is, we haven't seen the OSA too much in this match yet. Is it because the size of this map and a lot of your gunfights kind of being at short to medium range?
Yeah, you have these short little doorways, these tunnels, maybe, these situations where the OSO might pay off a little bit more for you. That fast time to kill at those closer ranges could definitely pay off. A huge win for Slacked on the wall run. A lot of momentum going into LG's favor, but again, Exotic is the player to slow them down just a bit. The drone should be moving a little bit up now, especially with a 3 dead. The 4th player is spotted. Can Saints pick him up? Octane picks it up for him. A 4 dead for them. 1 player from compLexity spawns up towards point, but it shouldn't be enough. A point should be going in. No, he misses. Underthrows it.
Just a little bit short, and that was the first time they spawned everybody out except the 1 player. Okay, they do end up getting the dunk. That's because there was only 1 player at home. I thought they were going to start to maybe overextend a little bit and just give up those points, but they're almost able to go clutch at home. The 1-point miss maybe that was scripted. Maybe he realized he was going to be there for the follow-up, but I don't know. That looked like a miss.
I don't think so. Another 4 dead going in, and this is one of the pains of playing on this map. I'm not sure why the drone is moving up towards this blue side. They had
spawned him right on point.
Ship control, but yeah, looks like the players just moved up a little bit too far and spawned them over towards the portal.
But you still find 2 there if you're Slacked, and now he wants to wrap around the back. So it's Saints that's going to be clearing the way, trying to get some shots in. Might open it up enough for Slacked, and there's a 1-pointer through. 3-0 lead. Luminosity controlling the respawns like we expect them to in this series, and really, I mean, just about every series. Outside of maybe the top couple of teams, really just maybe Optic, FaZe, Envy, where they'll really do battle. I think they're outmatching just about everybody here in Respawn.
A huge 2-piece from Slacked, snapping on Parasite over towards that middle tractor there. Looks like Control finally going over towards compLexity at ship, but they don't have any drone control. You need both.
Yeah.
Not able to do anything.
And this is kind of what I was talking about. When Luminosity got into a strong position, I was worried this would look like a very frustrating game for compLexity. It's kind of how it's been, right? They've been spawning out of their base, basically getting shot almost immediately, trying to come up in big plays, but Saints going around the back. Can he get the angle on for the 1-point toss? It's a deep one and just a little bit short. Not able to hit it, but I do like that shot and that attempt around the back wall run.
Another one missed, but Octane answering back again. The dunk goes in. I guess it's just some set plays going in. They missed
apparently. Missed by an inch, so we can make it by a mile. That's not a line, is it?
I think it's close. But LG does it again. Octane with a 2 and the dunk to his name. Once again, LG just making some noise here. Complete map control or drone control. They just seem to be taking turns. They control middle or they control ship, stopping compLexity from moving up anywhere.
All right, well now, look at this is the most control I think we've seen for compLexity this entire game. When you're talking at least about mid-map control and drone control, they've touched the drone, which is a miracle in itself, but you immediately see 2 players drop. Saints, depending on his timing, could end up wrapping behind a player here. Yep, he's able to trade that one. One more at outskirts, gets the angle on. The OSA, though, out of bullets, trying to reload, eventually able to reload, somehow finds the kill in the ugliest gunfight I've ever seen. Now Llama with the drum, maybe he'll get points on the board.
Such a casual gunfight win from Saints, taking about 10 seconds to reload his gun, but still able to win it. Llama just playing a bit too quick. He needs to wait for his teammates there. They're getting frantic. Got to take your time. 30 seconds left. A huge 2 from Exotic again. Can't count how many times he's been able to break that open for him. Slack, last one alive for LG, trying to buy as much time as possible so no score can go in, and he's doing the job. One should be coming in. Do they get the interception?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
Saints snags it out of midair, and that's going to be a goose egg for compLexity here on the first side. Do you find it, because you can spawn safely in the back there, kind of with health ad, do you find it a little bit more difficult from where you're pushing from compLexity, or do you think there's a little 50-50?
It's more difficult, don't get me wrong, but compLexity failed that completely. Slacked was the only player alive. 3 players could have easily pressured up more quickly. You notice that 2 or 3 second gap where the drone is just sitting there doing nothing. It's just they create a good opportunity for themselves, don't take advantage, and they get 0 points because of it as LG wraps back over towards the helipad side.
All right, well, 5-0 LG. Wait into the second half. Let's talk KDs a little bit here. So you have everyone positive outside of Classic right now on the side of LG. And then, we've been talking a lot about this man here, Exotic, how he's had a lot of clutch 2-pieces, but ultimately, they haven't really led to much. I mean, a couple have been defensive, but by kind of war of attrition, Luminosity still got the points through. And then the couple of 2-pieces we saw offensively, clearly not leading to points, so he needs a little bit of help, I think.
Exotic opens the door, and his teammates don't run through the door. It's not really his fault. Every single time, they're playing way too slow, they're playing way too scared for their KDs or something. It's just, it's kind of making me angry at this point.
Yeah, a little bit bizarre, but oh my God, splits it between 2. That was sick stuff. You saw both people going in for the interception, threads the needle there and gets another point on the board for LG. Something compLexity couldn't do throughout their entire 5-minute half is done in just over 30 seconds here for LG.
LG wrapping this drone over towards this left side again. Looks like Classic taking his time, throws the drone down, gets a call out and able to get the drone back in his hand. One player is the lead blocker. Can he win the gunfight? Octane picks up 1, but drone is dropped.
I mean, it's got to be tough, though. Yes, they're playing a little bit more safe, a little bit more defensively, but I don't know if they can play at the pace of Luminosity. Honestly, I think from a pure gun skill standpoint, they're probably a little bit outclassed here when you look at just the names across the board that you have on Luminosity. But obviously, what they're trying right now isn't working. In that, it may not be a strategy thing. Maybe it's just they're a little bit outmatched when it comes to the respawns. But you think they'd be able to get a couple breaks here with a couple nice plays they've had.
Some good aggression going on towards this ice tunnel. A one should be going in. The interception does not happen. Finally, a point on the board for compLexity, and I have to call out Llama again. He pushed way too fast. He might have been able to, set up a dunk for him and his team. He runs out about 3 seconds ahead of his teammates, gets picked off, and now he's stuck in a tough situation again. He's making some good individual plays, but there's times where you need to wait, group up. He keeps messing it up.
Yeah, what's interesting is that wasn't really true for Hardpoint as much, but it kind of is now. I mean, in both of these modes, you kind of have to play as a team unit more. It's not just fly, 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 fly. You really have to play together. And you're seeing LG do that very well, at least through the respawns into this series. Llama now struggling to rail, but able to get the rewind, able to win one gunfight. Second and front tags him up, but can't get it done. And now it's a time issue, right? You have 2:40 on the clock. With as little offensive presence as you have seen from compLexity, something has to change.
Exotic. Two-piece again over towards this ice side. Just locking down this right box so his teammates can storm up the middle of the map. And Trade's going down again. Wins another gunfight. Drone should be able to go in his hand. Swirly with his help. Picks up the second as well. So 3 dead for them. The players should be spawning up on Portal, though. I don't know if this is going to translate to points.
Yeah, they're going to spawn up. I'll go to Swirly because he's going to be in the position to win one. So he does take that fight. They've got the drone in hand now. It's going to be Exotic trying to make something happen. Can't even get it off. It's Llama that's pushed through the back. If he can win this, surely he may have an opportunity for a toss, but he gets cut down by Classic. Classic got a lot of huge kills in that whole transition because, one, he slowed it down mid-map when Exotic was going off. He got those 2 kills from behind that at least delayed the push. Then when he spawned up on defense, able to at least pick up a crucial kill there to make sure no points get through.
compLexity just not really taking their time. When we watch the LG's perspective, it's slow, it's calm, it's methodical. They throw down the drone and take the gunfights, always pre-aiming. When we switch over to compLexity, it's completely different. Well, one going in, does he get it yet?
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
That was nice.
Nice shot over the top from Slacked. And, we haven't seen much of that this year because the drone trajectory, right? A little bit weighted. Yeah. But it's been changed recently. You're going to see a lot more of those long tosses like we saw last year in Black Ops 3. And that's kind of the first deep one that I've seen like that.
Very impressive stuff from LG, putting the lead back in their favor by 6. Trade's going in again. Looks like a dunk should be happening. The overdrive slams it home. Octane going to get back over towards middle, loses the gunfight, but gets the dunk. They don't care at this point.
Yeah, they're destroying them. There's 60 seconds left, and the scary part of this is, again, you have another respawn here before you get to a search and destroy. I just don't know if compLexity can hang. I mean, sure, they did for a few minutes in that hard point, so it definitely is possible. But can they put together a full, 10 minutes of gameplay where they go toe for toe with LG is the big question.
A lot of pacing issues from compLexity. Just can't make anything happen on this uplink. 40 seconds left. There's no way they're going to be able to get back into this one. 9 points in an uplink. Very tough to do, especially on a map like Frost. Gunfight's going down back and forth. Parasite moving this drone up towards blue. Maybe a 1 should be coming in soon. 3 players contesting the interception coming in again. LG, all these players very good at setting up for those interceptions. Classic, one of the best at doing it at Black Ops 3.
Octane as well. Octane was very, very good at it. So, yeah, all around. I mean, you've seen a couple times where it's really the entire team kind of makes it their priority. I feel like you're watching a Quidditch match as they're all just soaring across, trying to make a play there on the goal. But 10-1, 10 seconds left. This is all LG. You see reactive armor pop by Saint. See if he can find a couple kills and close out the round. Finds 1 second in front. Reactive armor does its job, and that's all she wrote. A stomping here in the Game 3 uplink.
Impressive stuff. Not surprising, though. We sort of expected LG to be the stronger slaying team, but I want to explain why. compLexity, how many times, if you go back and watch that VOD right away, how many times does compLexity get caught spurting compared to LG? That's really what it was. It's not like LG is shooting some sort of, doing something special, right? They have their guns up. They're pre-aiming. It's simple stuff. compLexity is just not doing it. The one player that is, look at the scoreboard. 31 and 21 for Exotic, and the loss, only 1 point, but he had a hell of a game because he's taking his time and playing it right.
Yeah, again, we talked about several times that those multi-kills he would pick up should have led to more, and they really didn't. But Luminosity, you know how good they can be. You can't be shocked here that they were able to take it, but I am curious what the guys on analysis think about that Game 3 win for LG.
Thank you very much, guys. As you mentioned, of course, LG now find themselves 2-1 up. Before we get to Game 3, though, let's backtrack. Let's go all the way to the beginning. Start with the hard point. Chance, any key moments really that jumped out to you in that one?
Luminosity domination, more or less. It really just comes down to the slaying power that they were just talking about on main stage about the uplink. It's just the gun skill seems to be in their favor, whether it's pre-aiming gunfights, whatever it may be. that being said, compLexity did quite a few smart things. I noticed Lamagod was toggling back and forth between the laser sight K-bar and just your standard stock one quick draw foregrip, stuff like that. So he was doing it for specific kills as well towards the end. They were down, I think there was about 11 seconds that Luminosity needed to get on board. There was 12 seconds left in the hill that compLexity had control of. Instead of milking those 12 seconds, they just went straight for the rotation. They gave up no time. They just threw away 12 seconds that they would have had because they knew exactly what they needed to do to get the win. So they played smart. They just didn't win the gunfights to get the W. Yeah,
and I mean, game one, compLexity did show some signs of life. I mean, it was a pretty close game up to a certain point. It was pretty back and forth, and then Luminosity just seemed to run away with it. That slaying power that we keep touching on just seemed to carry them forward.
At any point, did you think the comeback was going to happen?
I did.
Really,
honestly.
though? Did you really?
Yeah, as Chance was talking about it, that last play, I mean, we saw it at PSX in the finals with Orbit and FaZe. That sort of graveyard hill, you know, Luminosity heads there, and then they lose that initial gunfight, and compLexity had a chance to get the full 60 seconds. So, I mean, it would have been special. It would have been very difficult to pull off, but it could have happened.
Maybe, potentially. But jumping into map number 2, of course, Luminosity find themselves 1-0 up. We head over to a search and destroy. compLexity looked a little more comfortable in that one, Chance.
I think it's one of those things that they legitimately just outsmarted their opponent. There was the one mistake I know Luminosity had where they team killed somehow, and this is like the second/third time we've seen them just make a horrendous play. Not sure what happened there, but even so, compLexity, a lot of good plays. Lamagod twice. He was on the A flank on the offensive side. One time he pushed up, waited for his team to cause a ruckus at B, went for the flank, and he picked up the 2 last kills of the round, making a nice play. And then a couple rounds later, instead of pushing that streak, he sat all the way back, wait for Luminosity to rotate past him, and then he goes and picks up, I think, just 1 kill and leads to the second as well. But a lot of just really key, smart plays. Just to continue talking so I can have this whole time to myself, even the last play, Slack, every single round was going to platform, and he was doing devastating stuff with it. Yeah. Final round, though, Swarley pops the active camo and takes him down. So all the smart things that compLexity could do, they did do, and they were successful.
That was impressive.
Any more on top of that?
No, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is Luminosity, they have great sort of default strategies that they sort of set themselves to. They usually go up early. We saw them go up 4-1. This map, they're up 3-1. And then compLexity makes mid-game adjustments, sort of what you were talking about. They do they switch bomb sites up. Luminosity, they just seem to do the same default strategy over and over and over again, and they're just not making those mid-game adjustments that they need to. I mean, it gets towards that 7th or 8th round, and compLexity's like, they're just going to keep doing this again. So they waited for that camo, pushed that sort of observation deck, and were able to get kills.
Back to the original point. You go back to the second game of the day where me and you were up here. I asked you, you know, Looney, Saints, that trade-off, you're losing that shot caller, that in-game leader, if you will. Is that what's potentially showing in Search and Destroy?
I don't think so, because even last year, we were talking about this. They had the same issues where they would just stick to those same strategies, not really have that many adjustments. It needs to be somebody, you know, on that round 6 or 7 that says, let's just do something different.
Right. And then, of course, we just saw that map number 3. The uplink came through. Luminosity find themselves 2-1 up now. Was that a more convincing game for you, Chance?
I don't know, just kind of like the hard point, same kind of thing. I know it got a little bit wild towards the end where compLexity, there was a glimmer of hope, but same kind of thing. It's just, it really comes down to that slang. I know Exotic did incredibly well, but really you just have 2 players that aren't putting up numbers at all. There's only so much you can do in a respawn game mode if you don't have slang power.
Well, as it stands, Luminosity find themselves 2-1 up. That's going to be everything for the analysis desk for now. We can actually send it down to the wonderful Jack on the floor with an update.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yes, backstage here with none other than FaZe Clan's Zuma, live here at the CWL Las Vegas Open presented by the PS4. Zuma, you guys have had 1 match under your belts first, though. Before we get into that, before we look ahead for what's next for you guys, how you liking Vegas so far? Any gambling on your end, or you're saving your money?
No, I love Vegas, but I'm keeping my money, man. Like, I don't gamble, I don't mess with that stuff. So I just watch other people lose their money, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I do.
That's half the fun, right? That's been an absolute blast so far. But the venue itself, though, you're enjoying what you see here, the crowd, everybody coming around, taking photos with you?
Yeah, the venue's amazing. I met so many supporters over at the Scuff booth. We were there for an hour, so it was awesome seeing all of them. And the crowd has so much energy, so it's amazing here right now. It's lit, man. It's lit.
It most certainly is. And it's just Friday, but the big thing so far is the pool play matches for you guys. Pool A, you guys have Envy and Gosu Crew now. I know your first match didn't go as planned. What went wrong for you there against the Gosu Crew? What are you guys looking to fix going up against Envy next?
Yeah, well, we started off good. We won the hard point. We're feeling good. The S&D, we were cutting it close, ended up coming on top, and then we went up 2-1, and it's just those S&Ds, man. When we lost 2 S&Ds, it's just killing us, so definitely got to work on our S&D. Because our respawn's looking good, so really got to work on S&D. It's hurting us.
I know Envy played them earlier on. There's a situation now where all 3 teams are, I think, at 1-1. If you guys can take down Envy, that will be our MLG primetime match up next. Your predictions, though, for that series? Some people have said Envy a little bit under practice coming into this weekend because apathy and the wedding and the honeymoon going on. You guys, though, have basically grinded more than any other. How confident are you in your team to come back and bounce back for that match?
Yeah, we're really confident. We always go confident no matter who we play. Obviously, with the new update and everything, the Envy's under practice a little bit, but the game changed like about a week ago, less than a week ago. So we're all under practice, honestly. Everybody here just like doesn't know what gun to use. People are using the OSA, or people are like don't know what to use because LAN is much different to online, as many people know. So a little bit of confusion, but I think we're gonna come out on top, feeling confident. So.
Well, Zuma and crew, they'll be facing Envy next on the main stage to kick off MLG Prime Time for tonight. For now, though, let's send it back up to our casters for Game 4.
All right, thank you, Jack. Yeah, FaZe is a big test. I mean, they're at a point where they kind of have to beat Envy right now after falling. It's funny because before this weekend, you know, us casters got together. We did kind of a caster roundtable talking about it, and I did think Gosu Crew could get an upset, but I really thought it was going to be Envy if that's where the upset came. I was very shocked to see FaZe. I've been really high on FaZe because they were the most practiced, they were most prepared, they won PSX, but you know, kind of what Zuma said, the game kind of got turned on its head recently. There were a lot of changes, so everyone's sort of, I guess, starting off at square one to some degree.
Yeah, to be fair, it's just sort of the way it is right now. Who's going to be able to adapt faster? And each and every series that you play, especially in an environment like this, the top tier talent is all here, right? So every single series you need to learn as much as possible. Yes, they got upset from the Gosu Crew, but what did they learn? They learned that their S&D is a little bit weaker than it might have been at PSX, for example, or just in general. Some changes went on with the bomb sites. Some of the maps play extremely different now. So if they're able to make these adjustments on the fly, they can certainly take down a team like Envy. But you know, going down early in this one, I don't think FaZe wants to make another loser bracket.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of great changes, and you know, it's good they're happening this early in the game. But when you have, you had bomb site changes, you had some uplink portal changes, you had some hardpoint spawn changes. Yeah. There's been a lot for the guys. Not only are you learning a new game, but as the game is being tweaked more and more for competitive, it's a lot, and they have very little time when you're talking about a week before an event to start to prepare. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see some teams drastically improve over the course of the weekend, especially if they're practicing. Maybe when they're off, there's the station they can play on, get some scrims in. I'm very curious to see who the best team is come Sunday.
It's a lot of information to process, and now's the time. If you're in between matches, if you're done with your matches for the day, now's the time to learn as much as possible. Playing on LAN, playing against the top talent in the world in Call of Duty, you got to do it here. Learn as much as possible.
All right, well, we're going to be going to throwback hardpoint. Now, this is one, at least when the game first came out, it was a little bit difficult to predict the spawn. It's become a lot more, I guess, a lot more control. You know, the Lime hardpoint recently was removed, so it has changed up a bit. How do you feel about this map currently right now in this particular game mode?
I love throwback overall. I think it's a good pace to it. It's not too fast, not too slow in general. So I think it's going to be very tough for compLexity to bounce back, though. I think Breakout is slower, might play to their style a little bit more. This is going to be faster. I don't know if they'll be able to keep up.
Well, this is the recipe for success for LG, and that's why they lost that first series versus ALG. They can't lose their bread and butter. They can't lose the respawns. They have to close it out here. If it goes to a game 5, my opinion flips completely. I'm starting to feel much better about the side of compLexity.
Definitely agree with you on that one. First hard point going down. Looks like Parasite starting off a little bit better in this one. The NV4 going to be coming in for him there over towards the bus bridge. Trying to lock down this back. Lemon now can't win that gunfight versus Classic, though.
Yeah, I think he might have got tagged up by a couple players there, but trying to trade out a few of these was Exotic. He found one before dropping. Last man up was Swirly. That ended up being, I think, 3 or 4 down. But they've got a nice little lead here early on. We've still got 20 seconds left on the train platform where Wash's Saints tries to wrap around through. Finds one pushing through that bottom alleyway. His team picks up a couple as well. And it looks like the scrap time, well, unless Swirly has something to say, he might actually be able to shut down some of the scrap time.
Yeah, that's actually really good. Shutting down 10 free seconds that would have gone in their favor. Ends up getting traded out, but that's every second counts, right?
Yeah, it certainly does. Octane around the top. He's going to be able to win one. Now we'll get set up at bar. So talk to me a little bit about this hard point and how you like to hold it, TP.
Definitely got to get around the back and anchor. That's back sort of Lemon or back market spawn that you see LG getting right now. But compLexity is doing a good job of spreading out over towards the map. Hopefully he can win one of these gunfights and block this back spawn. Looks like Exotic's able to win one. The spawn should be coming out now. LG spawning out towards Lemon now, and they need to go right away, clear out the other players, but Slack and Classic have something to say about it.
He has caught a nade to the mouth, basically, as he wrapped around side barn there. Slack, though, still inside, racking up time, so the early lead from compLexity is all but disappeared now as LG has started to take control, and the 3 streak here from Slack to be part of it. Should be able to make it 4 as he's able to find one more. Second in the back, can't snap onto him. And Classic, you know, we talked about his, I guess his struggles, at least compared to the rest of them in the first series. He's stepping it up here. He's kicked it off 8-3, and if I remember correctly, he started off pretty darn well in the first hard point as well.
Just making the game easy on himself. A lot of time in the hard point already in this one, closing in on 50 seconds as we rotate again. And every time we switch on this guy, it just always seems like he's in an opportune situation, always making the correct play at a given time and playing his life. Now, working up towards this street, the sidewalk over with Octane, trying to find some teammates to work with, but gets taken out.
I think there was one above him there, kind of wall running in the front window. He eventually does drop. Saints now trying to play his life. You see it change yellow there as it gets contested, and he'll get pushed out. So Exotic and Lam are able to get to the hard point. Exotic knows he has a couple above him. He has like one above him behind, one above on the bridge. Ultimately, it's a 3-man break there for Luminosity, and they've got control yet again with 30 seconds to work with. Anything special you're seeing from LG to mount this lead, or pretty much same old from the first couple of respawns?
Grouping up and winning gunfights, making the game easy on themselves. compLexity just making the same sort of mistakes again. They're spreading out so far on the map. Every single time in these sort of hill contesting situations, I want you guys to watch the red arrows on the minimap, how far spread they are compared to the blue ones. And that's just so crucial, especially when, you know, each death is so important. You want to at least put yourself in the best situation possible to win multiple gunfights in a row. The best way to do that is to group up.
And now another position where it's going to be a rotation battle won by LG. Trying to break in is going to be Exotic and Crew, trying to go in through bowling. He has one out to the right, trying to find it there. Hell, I lost him. Oh, I think he wall ran over the top of the door. I was having trouble tracking him, so I'm sure he did as well. Octane still holding spawns here in the back as they continue to rack up time. And I mean, they're blowing the doors off of compLexity right now, but they did get the break halfway through. Let's see if they can hold this final 30 seconds.
30 seconds is absolutely huge here to keep compLexity in this one. I feel like if they get broke, the game's just going to be broken open. Some payload abilities should be coming into the game fairly quickly with the amount of kills that LG is getting. Octane soars in through the back again, picks up 2, and has Slack's help as well. A 4 wipe again. 15 seconds of scrap going to be going into LG's favor again. And oh man, it's looking bad for compLexity here.
It really, really is, especially as the streaks start to build here for Slack. He's only 275 off of streaks, but he does end up dropping. So now Classic will be the last one rotating out. Let's get back to mid-map. Parasite's going to be set up here to pick up the original time. So he's set up inside. He's got the K-bar to work with here. He's tagged up almost immediately, ends up falling. Didn't have really any help at mid-map.
Yeah, he didn't have any help, but he also didn't even shoot back. He just tried to, you know, cower down in that corner, just not even getting any sort of damage off, and LG's just running the table on these guys. Exotic, again, seems to be the only player that's able to make anything happen. A 2-piece for him at the top window. He gets taken out again. The trades are too strong for LG. They're taking their time. They're waiting, and then when they are put in these 1 versus 1 or 1 versus 2 situations, they just always seem to come out on top. Parasite finally starting to play a bit more aggressive over towards this green sidewalk, but they're just not getting any time.
Yeah, and the faster style of these games, especially, obviously the meta sort of evolves, the gameplay evolves as you go over the course of the year, but right now, I mean, trading effectively is almost the biggest thing at the first event like this, and Luminosity certainly doing a better job playing as a group and trading those kills. As you see, that's going to be 3 down for compLexity now, as we're going to begin to rotate out to Barn. You do see Slack set up here, Lemon just trying to put some shots in. And now this is where a lot of damage got done from Luminosity the first time around. As you can see by the minimap, they're stacked up and ready to go again.
Looks like Llama is really far out on this left side minimap. Might get some timing on Octane there. Luckily able to win that one. I didn't think he was going to make any magic happen. Now he's the last player alive, though, able to pick up 1 in the hard point. He really needs to pick up the second, not able to do it. And you see again just how far compLexity is spawning out. And I feel like that's sort of because Llama was pushing on that, you know, grass side of the field on the map. So they just are spreading out way too far.
Oh God, Slacked.
Has this power spot controlled and just taking him down. And
the first time through, this is where Slack went off. I think he was on like a 5 streak. This is where he started to build, got a lot of time. I mean, I think all of his 50 seconds have really come in this particular hard point. Now he's on a 7-kill streak. He's got Bombardment, Scorchers, and Trinity Rockets to work with. It's not over. We've seen some crazy comebacks, but up 100+ with the streaks to work with. And I know we want to look at the rotation battle, but I do want to stay with Slack just because he's got a gem of a streak going here.
Definitely, and you know, he's going to call one in now on the rotation, going to try and force a kill off of this to spawn out behind him if possible, but no, only gets hit markers with it, has a couple more streaks to work with if he needs to, but doesn't matter.
He must have got, that must have been the player he tagged with the Trinity Rocket, because I think he got 1 bullet there from the hip fire as he was able to find the kill.
Parasite's stuck in an unfortunate situation, and compLexity just doesn't even look like the same team as we saw in this first hard point. Slack getting control of this top bridge now, gets a couple players in front of him, and I really expect the streaks to come down. The other team shouldn't have any sort of cover. Octane just hopping around just like this, contesting for as long as possible as his team storms back in, loses that gunfight to Exotic though.
Yeah, I thought he might use streaks off a spawn. I might actually stay with Slack. I mean, he doesn't need to use them now by any stretch with only 20 seconds left, but they're up so much, I think he's just going to do it. So he's going to try and nuke him here with the bombardment, and it's going to chase everyone kind of under time. He actually might get a team kill here, depending where he called it in. No, he does find Exotic with it.
Gets a kill, and the reason he called that streak in is because they got the favorable spawns for the next hard point, so they figure as soon as they get kills, the other team's going to spawn out even further. They're setting up for the next, they're able to get initial control.
Yeah, look for Swirly to spawn.
Neptune.
He's got to hike across here to try and get in. So nice streak use there. They get set up, and you can see this is a solid, 5 to 10 second hike he just had across the map, and now he's watched 2 of his teammates drop, so he can't do anything now to begin with. He's in a 2v4. Now let's see where he pops again.
Now it's going to be very tough for compLexity to spawn over towards this blue side and make anything sort of happen. Swirly just making the trek over again, and look at that, another 10 seconds, another 10 seconds. LG just making it look very easy. Hasn't even gotten a gunfight in.
No, yeah, he spent this entire hardpoint running right now, and he's going to drop again. We're going to watch this entire hardpoint from Swirly's POV, and you can see now with the new hardpoint spots how punishing this can be. Going to wrap back.
You can't face smash anymore.
Nope,
you can't do it.
You really have to play as a team. He's going to drop again. All right, well, we'll stop picking on him. It's not really him. He hasn't had a favorable gunfight once, and now this is the closest spawn he's got as he kind of spawned front blue and field there, but it's over. There's 10 seconds left. That was one of the most frustrating POVs I've watched on a hardpoint, and that's perfect by LG, right?
Yep. Exactly. Punish. Look at Slack's scoreboard, though. We got to take note of it. 34 and 12. Going in, he's trying to get the 3.0 KD, has more streaks to work with, has the payload rewind to work with as well. Doesn't even feel like reloading, just trying to pick up as many kills as possible. Able to get the 36. Can he get 40? Looks like the game's going to be over before that's possible, though. compLexity definitely seemed like they gave up, midway through that game. They didn't even get any sort of time.
Yeah, I apologize, Slack. We saw your first 2 streaks where you went off. We missed that last one as we were showing how frustrating that was for the compLexity players. Yeah. But Luminosity does what they need to do. They win the respawns, and for the most part, they win the respawns in commanding fashion. The uplink was a blowout. This game 4 was a blowout. I know the game 1 was a little bit close, but that's kind of the trap they fell into with ALG as well. They lost that game 1. It was kind of back and forth. A bit of what you saw here, but God, Slack, 36 and 13 with 1:11. He had 2 or 3 streaks that I think approached double digits. He was a monster. And, Swirly, you can't really pick on him. The entire team struggled. You saw they were losing that spawn battle the entire time. I mean, I actually, usually we like to show the guys that are going off, but it was kind of fun to show what it looks like to go against that and see how frustrating it can be when you spent a full minute running, basically, is what that was.
It's a learning experience, though, too. How many times did we watch him spawn up? Was it 3 or 4 times he spawned up?
I think a solid 4 times where we saw him hike across, die, hike across, die.
So instead of doing that over and over again, take your time, go middle, go all the way around with your teammates rather than just trying to face smash into an unfavorable situation over towards blue. You're just going to die over and over again, especially against a team like LG. You saw it right there. Take the time, go around.
The one time he got in a decent position, and 2 of his teammates dropped at the same time. She's like, all right, well, now this whole hike has been for naught. Yeah. But hey, it's been fun, guys, for me and Teep. Luminosity takes it. But to break it down, we will toss it down to the guys on analysis.
Thank you very much, gents. A wonderful performance from Luminosity to close that out. Of course, we did a little bit of analysis on this series already, of course, just before that final map. But in terms of that last hard point, Luminosity looking a lot better than Merc.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what we expect from this Luminosity team. I mean, they dropped that search and destroy, but in terms of respawns, they looked really good this series. That map 1, similar to their first series of the day, was pretty close, but that map 4, they just did a really good job of putting that pressure on compLexity, and compLexity just wasn't able to respond back.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to analyze other than what we said. Luminosity, stronger slaying team. Anytime Slack goes 36 and 13, that's not going to hurt anything. So, I mean, there was never a moment really where you didn't think Luminosity was just going to come out on